Roosevelt grew increasingly frustrated as business began to accuse him of meddling with free enterprise. When he regulated the stock exchange and the banks, the captains of American industry were outraged. During the euphoria of his first 100 days in office, even Republicans had supported him. Now they turned against him.
The New Deal is government from above. It is based on the proposition that the people cannot manage their own affairs and that a government bureaucracy must manage for them.
Republicans charged that government was becoming too big and too intrusive.
We do not want to see these alphabetical bureaucratic agencies become permanent fixtures in our national political life.
The election just 2 years away, the attacks on Roosevelt became more intense than ever. Angry businessmen founded the Liberty League, dedicated to stopping further New Deal legislation. Then, on May 27, 1935, a day New Dealers would remember as Black Monday, the Supreme Court struck at the very heart of Roosevelt's hope to stimulate the economy. They declared the NRA, the National Recovery Act, unconstitutional. And it was just the first blow. The court was moving against Roosevelt's efforts to abolish child labor, establish a minimum wage, boost farm prices. Law by law, the court would attempt to dismantle the work of the first 100 days. For millions of Americans, impoverished children, the unemployed, the elderly with no savings, the disabled, he offered the Social Security Act. He sold it as an insurance policy for everyone, but the poor, Roosevelt was saying, had rights too.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection to 30 million of our citizens who will reap direct benefits through unemployment compensation, through old age pensions, and through increased services for the protection of children and the prevention of ill health.
By the end of his first term, Roosevelt had begun to shift the balance of power in America. The rich felt the sting of higher taxes, and workers acquired the right to bargain collectively. Soon, great American industries, steel, rubber, automobiles, would be unionized for the first time. And the men FDR grew up with, who went to Groton and Harvard, have begun to say, that man in the White House has gone too far.
People who fear progress will try to give you new and strange names for what we are doing. Sometimes they will call it fascism, and sometimes communism, and sometimes regimentation, and sometimes socialism. But in so doing, they are trying to make very complex and theoretical something that is really very simple and very practical.
I never had any doubt that Roosevelt was going to be reelected in 36. You could smell it.
Mile after mile, Roosevelt entourage could barely get through the streets of well-wishers, and people could hear individuals call out, he gave me a job, he saved my home.
Roosevelt was so supremely confident that he never even mentioned his Republican opponent. He saved his fire for the leaders of big business.
Government by organized money is just as dangerous as government by organized mob. Never before in all our history have these forces been so united against one candidate as they stand today. They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
The Republican opposition accused Roosevelt of turning class against class. Eleanor Roosevelt also came under attack for her tireless advocacy of New Deal reforms, and especially for her sympathies with the struggle of Black Americans.
For the things that we as African Americans loved her, there were too many Americans who hated her. Here was a woman coming from the top class in our country, and here she was moving into poor neighborhoods. Here she was sitting in groups of people of all races and all backgrounds. She didn't have a program, but a lot that she did helped to lay the groundwork that we could build upon later years in civil rights. And of course, many hated her for it.